Welcome to Catholic Views. I'm your host, Renee Kranz. On today's show, we will have Mark Konzemius. He is the president of the Catholic Community Foundation for Eastern South Dakota. And Mark Christopher Lawrence, who is the main actor for this year's Christmas at the Cathedral. So we are going to talk about what that's going to be this year. What's the theme? Mark Christopher Lawrence, you may recognize him. He played Big Mike on, Bergwald is saying, yes, he played Big Mike on the NBC show Chuck some years ago. I don't know how long ago that was. You?
It ended many years ago now, but it ran for like 5, 6, 7 seasons.
Yeah,
like
so if you watch that show, hey, he's going to be at Christmas at the Cathedral and on the show later here after we're done with Biblical Bites. Let's do that first. Some Biblical Bites with Dr. B.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Are you?
Jermaine and I watch Chuck like weekly.
You should have come in yesterday. He was here. He was right there.
Virtually speaking. No. I'm looking forward to seeing him in person.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Anyway.
He has apparently been to Sioux Falls.
He has?
Right before COVID.
Really?
He was here in the winter for
Really?
some comedy shows.
Oh, fast. Oh, yeah. He's
a comedian.
He's a comedian.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Anyway, go ahead.
Thank you for the permission.
Yes, you're welcome. To continue on my show?
Exactly.
Yes.
What's today? I'd ask Elise, but she's off mic today, sadly.
This will be the 33rd Sunday in Ordinary Time.
So, yes. How many left?
1.
Right. So we're coming to the end of the liturgical year, rapido. So what I want to focus on, we've talked about this before, as the end of liturgical year approaches, so as we get closer to Advent, the readings for Mass start to look towards Jesus' return at the end of time and the final judgment. And actually, Advent begins that way. The first couple weeks of Advent are actually focused on Christ's second coming before we turn our attention to Nazareth and Bethlehem.
Right.
So what I want to focus on, just a broader point about the second coming. I don't want to focus on the gospel, but the last line of the gospel is Matthew 25, 14 through 21. It's about it's the parable of the talents, where a master gives 3 servants different amounts of talents, and some get a return, and one just buries it and does nothing
one
with
talent.
it. Right. And this is how the reading. This is from Matthew 25, 14 through 30. This is how the gospel reading this Sunday ends. Now then, take the talent from him, the one who didn't do anything with it, but buried it, and give it to the one who had with 10. Like, first of all, well, that doesn't seem very nice.
Or fair.
For to everyone who has, more will be given, and he will grow rich. But the one who has not, even what he has will be taken away. Like, who is this jerk who's talking? Oh,
it's Jesus.
It's Jesus.
That's a confusing one, isn't it?
And throw this useless servant into the darkness outside, where there will be wailing and grinding of teeth. We have in our culture, in our era, this image of Jesus. Cuddly bear, teddy bear Jesus. Warm, soft, cuddly. Jesus is my friend. I have a friend in Jesus. Jesus is the greatest friend that a person could possibly want. He desires a relationship. But to paraphrase, and this is where this is a classic for anybody who knows anything about Chronicles of Narnia, there's an obvious go-to here. One of the children says, when they hear about Aslan, the great lion of Narnia, the king lion of Narnia, is he safe? No, he is not safe, but he is kind. And that's a rough paraphrase.
Yeah.
Jesus isn't safe, but he is good. And as he's being good, there will be judgment. I will be judged at the end of my life. We will all experience the final judgment. And there is a real possibility based on my relationship with the Lord, how much I loved him, how much I loved my neighbor, and the state of my soul at the moment of death, that he might say, cast the servant out into the darkness. That's a real possibility.
Right.
Monks would say that There's a greeting that, and it still happens in some religious communities. Latin phrase, memento mori.
Yes.
Remember your death. It's not about being morbid, but it's about remembering that I will die and that will need to render account for the state of my soul at my death. Deathbed conversions are it's not like, I'm a sinner. I've committed all sorts of sins throughout my life. But it is about the state of my soul at the moment of death. But there will still be a recognition of how I loved or failed to love my God and my neighbor. So that's a real possibility. The other thing I want to say just briefly, so the second reading, again, in line with this, is from St. Paul's first letter to the Thessalonians. It's chapter 5, verses 1 through 6. And he's talking here. So this is near the end of the reading. Brothers and sisters, but you, brothers and sisters, are not in darkness, for that day, the day of the final judgment, to overtake you like a thief. For all of you are children of the light and children of the day. We are not of the night or of darkness. Therefore, let us not sleep as the rest do, but let us stay alert and sober. People get really, sometimes some of us as believers can get really caught up in the end times and when are the end times coming and so on. But Paul's counsel to the Thessalonians is not like, just chillax for a while. It's not going to happen. No, stay alert and sober. Do not sleep as the rest do. And that's just a good reminder for us to always live our lives alert and sober for the Lord.
Yeah, it's a good time to get reminders of that during November. Thanks, Dr. B.
You bet.